Hi all, welcome to my YouTube channel. And in the previous video, we discussed about the introductory phase of organizational behavior, where we discussed about the general meaning, definition, why at all it is important to know the organization's behavior for the successful business premises. And today we will be discussing about the minor topics like determinants of organizational behavior, importance of the behavior, the foundations of organizational behavior, and psychology. The term psychology has its inner or depth insights for the replications of organizational behavior as well. So let's get into the slides. Determinants of organizational behavior. So the determinants are the important prime factors or the reasons that which can be clustered under four main areas. One is people, structure, technology, and environment. That's a holistic view in which the organizations can be subclustered. When we talk about people, the human capital, it is again divided into two different criteria. One as an individual, second as a group. And individual differences or the thought processes will surely define the group of individuals' thought process, attitude, behavior, likes, dislikes, the levels of perception, the levels of initiativeness that they take for the growth of the business entity. That is with regards to people. When we talk about the structure, it defines about the job and relationship. What is the kind of job that the individual or as a group of people do? What is the relationship that they maintain or manage with the business organization, with the team members, or with the closed circle within the organization or within their own teams? That is structure. Technology. It talks about the machinery, the hardware, the software components. Yes, it is not that the skilled employee should have the knowledge, the ability, or the skill set to perform. We have to be having the resources for the employees to be performing. It's not with the updated technology or with the growth of whatever the artificial intelligence an employee or the organization is going to grow well. Definitely not. People should be able to take up any kind of challenges starting from the basics level. The best example here that I can quote is where in down south in Tamil Nadu or be it in Andhra Pradesh, there were situations before a decade where the central minister, the chief minister of that particular state enforced that each and every organization, that's the government organization, employees should be able to work with computers. It was highly chaotic situation. But then they are very successful. The states like Andhra Pradesh, Telangana ranks number one in down south because of the information technology, ITES, everything is boom. And the down south, if we could see when compared to Bengaluru or Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana is always topping number one in terms of the development, be it infrastructure, be it the software, IT, whatever we call it. They top because they are visionaries. We see them to be visionarizing the future, not only for that particular sector, but still for the entire state. And when the state grows, it's that down south where the development could be seen. And then it grows to the other parts of the country. So it's very competitive when we talk about the technological impact for any kind of business organizations. And then when we talk about environment, it is the government, the competition, and the social pressures. Yes, when we talk about government, it talks about the external environment where the indirect forces is being given. Indirect force, indirect poking nature is seen in employees. Then competition. Yes, everywhere it is going to be very competitive nature because the floor, the business, the markets is open to everybody. no matter what, where we are from, what kind of business organization we are starting with, but still the competition is still there. Social pressure, there is still the social stigma or the trauma or in number of myth we still believe in. Those kind of attributes will never help any individual or the group or the organizations to flourish to the expected or to the normal level. So the social pressure, when an organization is formed, it has to have its own culture, value that has to be taken care. Importance of organizational behavior. Why? Again, we have discussed this a lot, but still when we slice down the components, we are able to see many other aspects like roadmap to lives in organization. Yes, it is a procedure like SOP, standing operating procedures, where it is very important for each and every employee, starting from the security officer till the secretary or the owners of the business organization, to follow it. That's the place, that's the time where everybody is feeling responsible for the growth of business organization. Helps us understand and predict organizational life. Yes, it is very important to predict the future, to predict a particular period of time series, to see where the business is going to be. Influences events in organization. Yes, definitely it does. When a particular employee, when a particular team is able to face challenges based on whatever situation they are facing, it is always open to the finance department, for example, where inward, outward, cash inflow, cash outflow, everything happens. There is no end for it. But then there are many other divisions in organizations where they have a particular minimal period of time at least. But in finance, it is highly impossible, because finance is treated as the lifeblood of the business, which means it is so important for any other proceedings to take it forward. Influences events in organization, again, it is having a powerful impact. It helps understand self and others better. Yes, it is able to help each and every one of us to know what are our strengths, what are our weaknesses, where are the opportunities for us to improvise ourselves or to learn or to get even trained. It's almost like the SWOT and SWOT analysis that each and every one of us has experienced in our day-to-day lives. Be it in at least in any phase of our life, we should have been through that. Okay, so help understand self and others. It's not like we have our own pre-notion, it's like our perception. We never thought that our boss is of this kind, our manager is so dictating, and it can't be like that. This is not the person whom I met during the interview, this is not the person whom I met during my induction program. That cannot be the statement that we will be letting out during the times of disaster or during the hardships when faced by the team or that entire division. Okay, so helps a manager get things done better. Yes, the manager is a person who manages things in a better way, in a qualitative way and in quantitative way. There are managers where they fall into the qualitative aspect, there are managers who fall into quantitative aspects, there are managers who will fall for both, be it quantitative, be it qualitative as well. So it depends, the quality and quantity aspects depends from the size of business organization, the type of business operations that it is being taken place. Helps in career planning and development. Why it has to help in career planning and development? Because nobody is going to be retiring from one organization, because it is not ours, and if at all the person has to be there forever, it's only going to be the owners, the business entrepreneurs who are the pioneers, the visionaries of the organization. But for remaining of them, it's not the fact. It's just the 2% of the organization where it has to be in a systematic way. And career planning and development. Yes, the growth of the organization can be seen in terms of retention, in terms of attrition also. There are good leaders where they does not stop the employees if at all the particular employee has got the best of the best offers in their lives. So they encourage them to move forward, because it is all that one life for the human capital to take it forward. Help sustain in temperature of economic growth. Why economic growth? Because the livelihood, the standard of living, everything is going to be changing its trend from one form to the other form. So it is very important to know the culture, the proceedings of the business organizations. Helps in controlling and directing behavior. Yes, it helps in controlling and directing behavior. For example, I am a subordinate with my team boss or the team leader. If I'm kind of having a bad day and it is completely disaster just because of my spouse, I cannot go and burst out with my manager. I cannot be yelling at them. I cannot be showing faces. I cannot be expecting somebody who is very approachable, and I cannot make any hasty kind of activities or decisions on my day, on my team members or with my team members, which means I should be able to control. This is normal, this is abnormal, this is being active, this is being proactive. I should be able to understand my emotions, regulate my activities, my attitude, my perception, everything to be in a normal way. Effective leadership. Why effective leadership? The leadership has to be very effective for people to understand that everybody is taken care of. Every employee is being valued. It's not that any resources is found to be like a kind of a scrap or kind of not valued or underpaid or undervalued. You got the point? So effective leadership means every leader will be able to take care of their team members. It's like a leader should be able to see the growth of individuals in both perspectives, be it professional, be it personal. There are different kind of leaders. Again, it's a justification. There are different kind of leaders. I'm not commenting that a leader is a person who should take care. Yes, in several type of leaderships that is not applicable. It is not going to happen. But when we see that in an empathetic way, the growth of individual depends on the type of leader that we have, that we possess, that we get. Interpersonal dynamics have been evaluated by organizational behavior. What is interpersonal? There is a term, interpersonal effectiveness, which means how well I am able to get along with my team members. Interpersonal, within the group, within the organization. How is the bond that I am creating? What is my moral value? What is my motivation level? Who is that go-to person for me if at all I am facing some distractions, if at all I'm not able to give the desired output that which is being allotted to me? So how well if somebody is going to encourage me, entertain me, accept me, the person as I am? That matters. Next, the importance. Next, the importance of organizational behavior to the least priority level. Heads maintain cordial relationships. Yes, no matter what, you like it or not, be it your freshers, be it your station heads, be it anybody, we will not be able to show faces, make awkward situations. It always has to be, like a high-by situation. At least we have to be maintaining. If not, it is not going to be very healthy, because organization is a place where we all have to be working hand in hand. So when we get to work hand in hand, we will always be able to grow hand in hand. So growth can be seen in any kind of levels if it is cordially maintained. Highly useful in the field of marketing. Yes, because marketing is all about projections. It's all about how we sell ourselves. Ourselves means our products, our services, our whatever it could be, so it should be presenting us in such a beautiful way so that so much of talking, so much of discussions will not take place. Organizational climate takes system perspective. Yes, it is a system perspective, because there are situations where it says, no, this is the protocol we follow. You do this, you get that. This has to be done so that we can gain that. So there are if and but clauses sometimes in different organizations, and that too it depends on the scale of business organizations. In the beginning phase, anything can be liberalized, thinking that everything is going to be very smooth and the functionalities is going to be not creating any kind of chaotic situations. But when it comes to the other way around, where the output, the production or the turnover is getting affected, then each and everything has to have a checkmate situations. Lastly, organizational adaptation or perceived channels. Why it has to be perceived? Because perception is good, but it cannot be abnormal when it comes to the other criterias. Why other criterias? Because of somebody's perception, somebody's ignorance, no output should be treated as a hasty one. It cannot afford to lose any of the factors of production. The manpower is going to be abnormally wasted. The raw materials, the turnovers or whatever the valuation that it is there incurred in the inventory is going to be a loss for that particular period of time. Hence, these are all the importance of organizational behavior. And next is about the foundations of individual behavior. So, when we talk about individual behavior, it is restricting only to an individual, a particular group of individuals, or to one and only individual. There are 4 different factors. For example, personal factor, psychological factor, organizational systems and resources, and environmental factor. When we talk about the personal factors, it is for one own self, be it like age, gender, marital status, education, the locality that is not mentioned, the abilities. Abilities here is it can be personal, it can be professional. There are different kinds of abilities that an individual should be possessing. For example, ability to convince people. It is there with everybody, but we are not experts. Not everybody is an expert to satisfy individuals, because marketer is one person who is able to satisfy everybody, but the same quality or the skill is not seen in finance person. Maybe it is not seen in any other operational divisions too. The marital status, number of dependents, like other than that particular individual employee, who are all the family members whom he live with. Are they healthy? Are they handicapped, partially handicapped, or what? Not the reasons. It again depends. Creativity, the level of creativity. Not everybody is a creator. Creator in the sense, like everybody cannot be creating situations or creating strategies to accomplish the best of the best output. Emotional intelligence. Yes, emotional intelligence is applicable for each and every fellow human being, and be it an introvert, extrovert, or any other kind of individual, emotional intelligence will play its major crucial role. Psychological perspective, when we get into detail, it talks about the personality, perception, attitude, values, and learning, because it comes consciously, subconsciously. Why subconsciously? We may wanted to abuse our boss, or we may wanted to yell at somebody, but just because of the designation, just because of the experience, just because of the gender, just because of the place, just because of the culture, etc., we are not able to perform that. You understand? Instead, we are able to control our anger. If I'm going to behave in an abnormal way, if I'm going to raise out my voice, which is not acceptable, which means I am under soup. We cannot afford to lose a job if we say our job is our priority for our livelihood. And next is our organizational system and resources. When we talk about organizational system and resources, it talks about the organization structure, the hierarchy levels, how well, where is to be. Should I be reporting to the immediate boss or to the manager, or should I be scaling up to the owners of the organization? Again, we cannot bypass each and every designated employee or the employer just because our emotions, attitudes, perception, personality is completely getting shaken during the disaster time or during the abnormal phases of our lives. Leadership, reward system, work-related behavior. Leadership. Why leadership? Yes, the success of the business, the growth of individual depends on the kind of leader that we have. There are leaders who is always supportive, tampering, give a back tap, and motivate us. It's always a push and pull factor for leaders to be giving it to the team members for the best growth for individual, for the team, for the organization as well as for the society. And then the physical facilities. What is physical facilities? The amenities, we call it as the amenities, the infrastructure, everything is to be given as per Factories Act of 19 whatever, as per so and so act, Companies Act, whatever, everything has to be designated in such a way that each and everything is getting satisfied. At least the minimal of the minimalistic has to be given. For example, an organization has got both its gender. We cannot say that everybody can be utilizing everything. It has to have its own premises. It has to have its own limitations. It has to have its own feasibilities, feasibilities, flexibilities, anything to be satisfying for the employees. Lastly, environmental factor. When we talk about the environmental factor, it talks about different environments, be it internal environment and external environment. The environment that keeps inside within the organization, that's called the internal environment, and through the outside forces, if it's getting put, it's called the external environment. The political parties or the political system is an external environment. Ethics and social responsibility falls within, and then it travels inside and then goes to the external environment. The social norms and cultural values, it takes from outside to the inside premises, and it is vice versa. Something which is not acceptable to the society, which is not ethically done for the growth or for the betterment of the society, is not acceptable. Economic, yes, the economic system is both way. Once the business is not flourishing, then it goes to the downhill. And then through the government agencies, the best conventional classic example is the times of demonetization. What happened? What not happened? And during the crisis of disasters around the globe, that has an impact. When something is happening abnormal in the US, something is abnormally happening in our country as well. So the environmental factor decides, defines, lays rules for the growth of individuals, the growth of sector, the growth of society. Next, I just felt you should be knowing who Stephen P. Robbins is, and this is the picture of Stephen P. Robbins, and this is kind of the book which has got a good number of volumes sold in the market, and every year or twice in a year we are able to see the revisions, additions, amendments, or the cases that has been added, revised. Every time it's being reframed for the betterment of organizational behavior. So it's time for pop-up. There are dash determinants of organizational behavior. In the beginning of the video, we discussed about the determinants. What are they? How many determinant clusters we have? Yes, there are four. Organizational behavior is the lifeline of any business setups. True or false? Yes, it is true. Organizational climate, organizational culture. Climate is how well it is indulged in. That's what the climate is. Culture, what is the type of setup, what is the type of do's and don'ts that we have been following or that is to be followed, be it a fresher or for the serviced employee of that particular organization. List the foundations of individual behavior. The foundations of individual behavior is clustered into four. What are they? Environmental, psychological, then it comes to any other resources like one and only interpersonal, and lastly the demographies also is added. Alright, psychology. What is psychology? Psychology is derived from the combination of two Greek words, psyche, logy. Psyche means soul or mind. I understand soul is different from mind, you say, but that's how the psychology is being derived or defined. Logy, knowledge or study of. Why from organizational behavior we are dealing with psychology? Because it is one of the integral part as we deal with individuals. Look at this picture. What is this? Flowers, or somebody's holding, somebody's lifting, and it's a selfie mode. And the bottom picture, if you could see, it's from our part of the country, and in the above picture, if you could see, it's from the western part of the world, which means it's a funeral, which means it's a painful situation that somebody has faced. But look at the psychological perspective. People were making selfies out of it. Why? Is it telling us the individuals, both of them were sadists? Both of them were photogenic? Both of them has some disorders? We have a number of questions and the answer is still unknown. Maybe the perception says they are very much updating themselves to the social media, and it is not acceptable culturally. So this kind of disaster cannot be done in organizations. It has to be empathetic in nature. Sympathy is fine, but not completely fine. Organizational psychology, it talks about the study of human behavior in work settings and the application of psychological principles to change work behavior. For example, when an employee is feeling completely hasty in a day, when he is completely disturbed, when he is having a very bad mood swing, it's completely normal. It's not abnormal, because everybody has a family, be it married person, be it unmarried person. Be it like dependence is there, n number of reasons, be it society, be it a traffic syndrome, or be it in a physiological way, he got hurt, she is fought with some loved ones, buddy ones, anything it can be. But then it can't be completely abnormal for a longer period of time. If that is there, and it's the duty of the HR manager to take care of that particular employee to see what went wrong. And then it has to be taken care immediately for getting back to the normal routine. Look at this picture. It talks about psychological principles. It talks about social psychology. It talks about learning theories, principles of motivation and emotion. Why? Because after all, it's a human perspective, human beings. Anytime we are bound to be normal, we are bound to be abnormal. Any instances can define our livelihood. The learning theories will always help us to learn and unlearn things. It's not about completely forgetting something new, accepting reality perspectives has to be taken care. Social psychology, it's not that we as an individual will be able to cope it up. It's completely fine to be abnormal, but then we have to be in line. We have to be in the same tone with the fellow employees. What will make you a happy employee? What makes you a happy employee? A handsome package, a handful of whatever high promotions, and dry promotions are also accepted these days. But then that's not completely okay every time. Once in a while it is okay. Understanding the business premises and taking it to the next level. What makes a successful organization? A healthy, a wealthy and a mindful organization, as per my perception, that is termed to be a successful organization. Other things, once if all this health, wealth, well-being is taken care, remaining all the employees will do the best. Organizational psychology. Organizational psychology is getting into the deeper context of each and every employee's mindset and well-being. It talks about the leadership, job satisfaction, employee motivation, organizational communication, conflict management, even stress management also can be included, but it is not mentioned here. Organizational change and group processes. Why all these individual variables is being termed? Because it is so very important to ensure that from individual perspective to the group perspective, it has to be taken care. Once an employee is upset with the procedures, protocols, be it with individuals, be it with the team, be it with the any of the change, if at all that is being done, then that particular employee is not going to be having a happy workplace. Out of force, out of pressure, out of whatever commitment that particular employee is going to be working on. The kind of leader that we get also defines the satisfaction level to work for the organization. Scope for applying psychological concepts in the workplace. What are all the reasons? What are all the areas that it is mainly focused to have this psychological perspectives to be amended to increase productivity. Yes, to increase productivity means with non-stop procedural aspect, non-stop. They shouldn't be having a thought that I am overdoing my work. Why I only do, somebody is not performing. Why is that I have to be? No, there's nothing like that. People take it like they own it. They have to be owning the place. They have to be owning the businesses, transactions, or the productivity. Recruit the right people. Yes, right, recruit the right people for the right person at the right job. Yes, we have heard this. But why? One wrong person, one wrong hire can spoil the entire team or the group of people. Okay, and this has been witnessed in many of our lives as well. So within a short period of time, we cannot judge, define what an individual is. Increase performances. Yes, during the times of demanding situations, plus or minus, each and every employee's responsibility is to perform really well for the betterment of himself, for the team, and for the business organization. Foster a team performance. Yes, each and everybody should own the team members. Each and everybody should own the success. Each and everybody should own the losses or the mistakes that they have done. If that quality is seen in employees, then remaining all will fall in line. Increase motivation and engagement. Yes, it is very much important to increase motivation, because after all, it's a human being filled with blood, flesh, tissues and whatever. Okay, but then end of the day, we are dealing with human capital. I yell at my the subordinate, but still end of the day I have to be, hey buddy, I'm sorry, I was having a mood swing based on the performances, but then I had to cope it up. I hope you don't mind. My humbleness is making me feel comfort that I can make an apology to you. That's how my attitude should be. End of the day, that opposite party's ego is not being triggered and he is going to have a happy and peaceful day. Next, ASA, attraction, selection, attrition. What is this? We are all very much aware about this. Attraction. People are differently attracted to careers as a function of their own interests and personality. Yes, if you ask me to be getting into finance sector or finance job, I'm not the best person because I'm weak in numbers. But at the same time, when you gave me a task dealing with the operations, when you want me to work with the human capital, I'm very much into it. And it's a cakewalk for me is what my thought process is. But at the same time, just because I'm able to deal with individuals, it doesn't mean that I can be a good marketer also. I cannot be, because my traits, my psychological traits, my job nature or my way of thinking, thought process, my experience doesn't make me a perfect person to be a good marketer. Selection. Organizations select people who they think are compatible for many different kinds of jobs. Yes, it's not that I'm recruited for HR, I will do only this. No. At times we have to be flexible enough to be working for n number of things. We have something called job role, job rotation and all that, right? At the same time, during the times of disaster, when COVID happened, go way back to 6 years, what happened? We were ready to lose our jobs just for the sake of health reason, family reason, etc. But then we were very much comfortable even when we were given 50% of the salary. Even when no salary was given also, we were okay about it. Every month only 20% of the salaries were given. But then there were employees who were really performing well. It shows what kind of employee that the organization has selected during the selection process. Employees who work during the times of disaster, during the situation, demand situation happens, and there we get to know the best employees that who is supporting us. Attrition, the opposite side of attraction. When people do not, they are not comfortable with that particular environment and they feel they wanted to exit, they are sent out or they themselves will voluntarily get away. So it's very important to have an eye on ASA, attraction, attrition, selection. Why individual differences are important? Why do we feel it is very much important? Because individual differences have direct effect on behavior. I say something which you may not like, which means we have differences of opinion, which means we are not going to sail in a same boat. My thought process perception is different from yours. How is that hand in hand we are going to work? the output is not going to be very much flexible or feasible. People who perceive things differently behave differently. Yes, they behave in a different way, because you know that somewhere consciously, subconsciously, it is deep there. I said something, I asked for obligation, I wanted to do this, but that person, that employee did not allow me to do. I'm not able to explore. Why should I? Why should I? When is that I am going to explore? All this if, but, when clauses is going to give us a very big question mark when I see that person opposite to me. People with different attitudes respond differently to directives. Yes, at times we are not able to be very normal. We are very abnormal when the condition clauses are not satisfactorily, or when it is not in a feasible way. People with different personalities interact differently when bosses, co-workers, subordinates and customers are dealt with. Yes. The same tone that what I use right now will not be the tone if I am using it with my family members. They are going to see me like an alien. What's wrong with you? Why do you behave like this? That's the question. The same way I defend my thoughts, I justify my thoughts with my team members will not be the way where I serve. To the customers and consumers, I cannot voice out the same way, because they are going to give us business. So that time I should be able to mold my thought process, mold my attitude, behavior, perceptions and everything. Also, individual differences help to explain in several criteria as to why some people embrace change, which is accepting change. Change is necessary, it is inevitable, it is fearful, but then the output is going to be very good. If and until we don't give a try, we don't know the flavor of what kind of fruitful result we are going to get it in the upcoming future. How is it adding value to the lives? We are not knowing it. Why some people will be productive only if they are closely supervised, while others will be productive if they are not. Which means police work, moral police work has to be done. It's just like school kids, you know, you perform this, I'm going to do this. If you're not performing, I'll be like, hey, why are you not doing? Why are you focusing? You have to be focused, you have to be finishing. If you do that, you are going to get this. If you don't do this, you are not going to reach there. And it has started from our toddling age. Just the time we were born, starting from 1 year of our age, we have been experiencing this, and it is not cool to not accept this for every walks of our life. We have to be molding our own selves. Next, why some workers or the employees learn new tasks more effectively than others? For them, learning new, keeping themselves updated, or it is always ensuring that they are very much comfortable to do something best so that they get higher levels of promotions, higher levels of perks, incentives, awards, rewards. Few of the employees are very much comfortable into all this. So the individual differences will take time. By seeing that 1 or 2% of employees performing really well, all other employees are also getting motivated. Okay, why not I give a try? Why not I go take an initiative and get to know things? Is it, buddy, come on, tell me, is it going to take so much of my time? Is it going to eat so much of my energy? What is that I am going to gain in the future if I am upscaling myself? That should be the attitude for the proper growth. If this attitude is being built in employees, then trust me, it's going to give us a fruitful future. And then it's time for pop-ups. Yes, what is organizational psychology? Getting into the deeper concepts or getting into the deeper insights of the particular employee or the group of employees. Getting into the deeper and deeper level. What has gone wrong? Why it is? That's organizational psychology. What are the possible issues in organizational psychology? Yeah, people try to pretend, the employees try to pretend to be normal, but it's completely abnormal is what the result looks like, the behavior looks like. What is the meaning of the term attrition? What is the opposite of the term attraction? What is meaning of attrition? Tell me. It is opposite of retention. Yes, we discussed. What is the opposite of attraction? Don't tell me distraction. It is opposite of retention. Yes, attracting the best of the best resources for the betterment of business opportunities. So yes, when compared to the previous video. Today we have discussed about the foundations of business organizations. We discussed about psychology, what is psychology, why at all it is important to know psychology of individuals, the group or the business organizations, and we also discussed about why it is so very important to deal with people with deeper thoughts, to know, to analyze the humanistic tools. And we also discussed about foundations, where it had about 4 different layers, starting from individual layer, independent level, and then to the psychological level, then we took it over to the organizational level, and then we took it to the environment level too. Okay, with this I'm sure some of the insights on organizational psychology and the organizational behavior perspectives is being covered. I think this video has given you a bit of fruitful understanding on what these different concepts are. This is signing off, Dr. Geeta Manoharan, serving SR University as Assistant Professor from School of Business. And till then, we see a new video. Wishing you all. Thank you once again.